Shalom and welcome to 2 Minutes of Torah. This share is entitled the Ramban, Myers Kedoshim, possibly the most misunderstood Ramban in the Torah. Ramban famously comments at the beginning of Parsha Kedoshim, introducing a new term, Naval B'Reshut Torah. He says it's quite possible, after learning all the laws, prohibited relationships that one cannot have, known as the Arayot. Person can marry this person, that person, be with a woman who's an Idah, etc. And all learning about the prohibited foods, Achrimot, all those prohibitions can lead to a very dangerous situation. A person could go ahead and say, fine, I will not violate any of these prohibitions. I'll only eat kosher. I'll eat the best hashkachot. And I'll only be with my wife when she's mutter. And in biblical times, if a person has many wives, only when each one is mutter. But a person could go ahead and take these physical situations and truly indulge. Where this becomes the essence of his life. His physical life is his essence. And he could be with his wife very, very, very often. And he can have all the best foods, kosher foods, but all the time he's just indulging. And it's nonstop. And his cars, and his house, and his sports. And that's his whole life. It's one thing to have an outlet. Nothing wrong with an outlet. It's good to have an outlet as needed. But that becomes your essence. A person learns a few minutes a day. He davens with a minyan, but he works, but outside of that time, he's just indulging. So the Ramban introduces a famous term. And he says that such a person would be called a Naval B'Reshut Torah. Naval means he's acting in a disgusting way. But he's doing it with the Reshut of the Torah. He's not valuing anything. Makes a bracha on the food. The meats have the best hashkachot on them. He davens shachar mincha and marav in a minyan. And never with his wife in a time when it's asur. So you can't get him on anything. He's not violating any halacha whatsoever, any isser. And therefore, he's known, according to Ramban, as a Naval B'Reshut Torah. But it's disgusting. He's not living a proper spiritual life, even if he's not violating anything. So that's how people take the Ramban. That the Ramban says that Kedoshim Tehiyu introduces the topic of Naval B'Reshut Torah, meaning that after learning about all the prohibited sexual relationships and learning about all the prohibited foods, and those represents the main physical desires that we have, the appetitive and the sexual desires. So then the Ramban tells us, the Torah teaches us, and don't you be a Naval B'Reshut Torah. Don't you be someone who's disgusting, but within the permission of the Torah. Don't be that way. That's what Kedoshim Tehiyu is coming to teach us. That's how I think many, many people learn the Ramban. And Rav Dov Yaffa, one of the leading mashgichim in Israel, says it's just not true. It's a total misunderstanding of the Ramban. And actually, we have to have an opposite of understanding the Ramban. And in Yetz Hashem, the next year, we're going to analyze Rav Dov Yaffa's novel idea in how to understand the Ramban. Shalom.